The Pixel 11 might already be Google's most dangerous phone ever, and it doesn't even exist yet. Because everything leaking out right now doesn't sound like a normal yearly upgrade. It sounds like Google preparing a silent attack on the entire flagship market in 2026. And the crazy part is, it's not trying to win by being louder. It's trying to win by being smarter, more invisible, and way harder to replace once you start using it. And you can already see the setup forming from the Pixel 10 era. Google didn't go for a dramatic redesign or a flashy reset. Instead, it refined the experience in a way that most people underestimated first. Tensor G5 pushed more AI processing directly on device, cutting dependence on cloud in almost every key feature. Pixel Snap quietly built a real magnetic accessory system that actually feels native to Android for once. And the cameras, they stayed true to that Pixel identity, where photos don't look overprocessed, they just look right. No drama, just consistency. That's the foundation the Pixel 11 is standing on. But here's where the pressure starts building fast. Because 2026 is not a friendly year for Google. The competition is no longer lagging behind. Phones like the OnePlus 15 and Honor Magic 8 Pro are pushing extreme hardware, ultra-fast charging, and polished designs that don't feel experimental anymore. And that changes everything. Because suddenly, being good for a Pixel is not enough. The Pixel 11 has to compete like a true flagship killer, not a niche favorite. And according to early supply chain leaks and internal code references, Google is sticking with a four-device strategy again. Pixel 11, Pixel 11 Pro, Pixel 11 Pro XL, and a Pixel 11 Pro Fold that may arrive slightly later in the cycle. Nothing shocking there. But what is interesting is how early these models are already in deep development, with multiple internal code names suggesting Google is experimenting more aggressively behind the scenes than it ever has before. Now design is where things get surprisingly controversial, even if Google won't admit it. Don't expect a radical new look. The iconic camera bar is still expected to stay, and the overall shape will remain very Pixel-like. But there's one pressure point: thickness. Because while Apple, Samsung, and even Chinese brands are chasing thinner and lighter builds again, Pixel phones have been slightly more functional than sleek. And the Pixel 11 Fold especially might be forced into a serious slimming phase just to stay relevant. Then we move into the display side, where Google usually plays it safe but still manages to impress. OLED panels are guaranteed again, but brightness is expected to jump noticeably, with rumors pointing toward another major peak nit upgrade. The real speculation, though, is refresh rate. Some insiders suggest Google is testing panels beyond 120 Hz, which would make the Pixel 11 feel instantly more fluid than anything in its lineup so far. And there's another wild return rumor: secure under-display IR face unlock. Not the old Pixel 4 style bulky setup, but a cleaner, modern version that could bring biometric speed and security back into the Pixel ecosystem. Now, performance is where things start to feel like a real shift. The Tensor G6 is expected to move to a 2nm manufacturing process, and that's not a small jump. That's efficiency, heat control, and sustained performance all improving at once. Bridge that with reports of a potential modem switch to MediaTek's M90, and suddenly you're looking at better connectivity, improved satellite readiness, and possibly the battery efficiency upgrade Pixel users have been waiting years for. And then comes the camera talk, because this is where Pixel phones either become legends or fall behind. Leaks suggest a next-gen telephoto system pushing up to 100x zoom. And yes, that number always sounds like marketing chaos, but Pixel's computational photography is exactly what makes extreme zoom usable instead of useless. If Google pulls this off again, it won't just be about zoom, it'll be about turning distance photography into something actually practical. But the bigger shift might be video. Cinematic blur improvements, better low-light stabilization, and a rumored on-device night sight video mode could completely change how creators shoot from their phones. No upload processing, no waiting, just record and go, even in near darkness. And then there's the wild card: battery design. There's talk, still uncertain, but very real, that at least the Fold variant could explore removable battery systems again. It sounds outdated at first, but for a foldable that demands constant power and flexibility, it actually starts making strange sense. Now here's the twist. Because when you combine all of this, AI-first software, tighter hardware control, smarter imaging, and deeper on-device processing, the Pixel 11 stops competing like a normal smartphone. It starts competing like a system, not against one phone, but but against entire ecosystems that cost hundreds more and still might not feel as cohesive day to day. And that leads to the real question. If Google actually delivers even 70% of what's being rumored here, are we looking at the moment where Pixel stops being this smart alternative and becomes the phone others have to copy? Because right now, it doesn't feel like Pixel 11 is chasing the competition. It feels like it's waiting for them to catch up. So what would actually matter more to you in a Pixel 11 battery life that finally lasts all day without compromise, camera upgrades that push into absurd territory, or design that finally goes ultra thin without losing identity? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this is one of those launches where expectations might decide everything. And if you want more deep breakdowns like this before everyone else catches on, you already know what to do. Subscribe and stay locked in. The future of Pixel is getting closer than it looks.